day.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800. League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That it is. Welcome into a Friday edition of the show. I'm Austin Norman with you at 1040 O Street, and joining me at remote for one more day, my partner, E. Strick. What's up, partner? How you doing this fine Friday?
Well, as you know, it's always a pleasure. It is great to be on the block with the blockheads for another day, and it is, yes, a Friday. So we've got some wonderful things in store for you guys today. Excited to get it going. 2-hour show right here, 2 to 4, and it is On the Block, sponsored by our great and long-established company of NEBCO, Construction, Real Estate, and Recreation. So we're appreciative of them, of supporting. Tell us a little bit about them, who have been along with us since 1908. Austin?
1908, a fourth-generation family-owned and operated business. They've got over 1,200 employees and 26 companies throughout the great state of Nebraska. They supply the construction industry with the materials needed to construct buildings, streets, and highways. A couple of those great companies include Constructors and Ready Mixed Concrete. They're looking for mechanics and some general laborers for constructors. You can look at those openings at constructorslincoln.com. Or if you have a CDL license or interested in being a CDL driver, Ready Mixed Concrete will pay for your CDL training. Get $2,500 hiring bonus. Check that out at readymixedconcrete.com. You know what else it is today, Stricky? It's Good Sense Friday.
And once again, Stricky is missing the wonderful, you know what to do. The Boxster. Make sure the Boxster takes care of everything that's stricky with the sandwich there. I always supply, because there is one thing that the Boxster and his wonderful queen does, and for me, is she's Filipino. And so, I went over to the Philippines and I was able to partake in some of the wonderful delicacies of Filipino food. And so every now and then, probably I would say quarterly, they would cook up a little bit of Filipino. So I make sure that she gets a good sense about Stricky by transferring some good sense to her by way of a sandwich.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thunder Knock Collins, sorry you do not get it. As you heard, it goes to the Boxster and the Mrs. Boxster. But appreciate your thoughts, your considerations, and your service. Good Sense has 5 Lincoln locations. Check them out today. It's probably a little late for lunch, but hey, you still got supper plans in the works, so go get you some.
One day, Thunder Knock Collins might show up, because Thunder Knock Collins will come in and sit down in the meal. We ask all of our listeners, if they're in the area around 10th and O Street, 11th and O Street, that they stop by, wave, say hello, beep, do any of that. And Thunder Knock Collins goes a little bit extra. It takes a stop, parks, risk being at the ticket and getting a ticket, and he'll have a seat and have some conversation with us. So it's always good to see Thunder Knock Collins. Next time, if you're in there on a Friday, I may have some good sense to deliver to you.
Ooh, stay tuned. It's a good reason to show up. It's also Freestyle Friday, Stricky. Let's start it off. What you got? What's on your mind?
Okay. So this is something that I've been thinking about since it has transpired, and since the committee put forth their bracket and laid out the layout of what the college football playoff was going to be. Okay. So I have some concerns. I always, in some form or fashion, understand that there's going to be a learning curve, some growing pains, some issues that may come up. I saw some that potentially could present themselves. I've already expressed some on yesterday on the block with how I felt bad for Oregon in the positioning, and I gave some ways that I thought they could address that if they don't want to do a lot of rearranging and changing of the format. Okay, so I did that. While we were on show, we were watching and kind of observing how things was going in the last game. And shout out to while I'm on it, I didn't get a chance to do it while I was on WTF, and that was with Cluster Johnson last night. Had a really good show with him, and we talked about Xavier Watts landing the defensive player of the game. Shout out to Burke High School. Xavier, also here from Omaha, had a tremendous season. He is going to be a day 1 or day 2 guy. There's no question about it. As long as he runs well and he performs well in his combine, he's definitely going to be one of those guys, especially with Downs not being able yet. He's probably one of the top safeties out there right now, especially at the free safety as well. And so shout out to him. But we were watching the game, and one of the things that I said I would keep my eye on, Austin, was whether or not those individuals that played in the bye week, that had the bye, how they would perform. All of them lost.
All of them.
All of them lost. So we, the day before, go back and check it out. I can't remember. Was it Wednesday? I think it might have been Wednesday. No, it might have been Thursday. Tuesday. It might have been Tuesday, where we had kind of given some suggestions, some thoughts, some things that we thought may be better. We talked about maybe having the bowl games the first round, and then giving the bye, those who have the bye, the home game thereafter. So there's some things that we talked about there, but it's concerning that all of them lost. And what's the reason behind it? My question is, does the committee care? Does anybody care? And what adjustments they're going to make out of it? Thoughts? 402-464-5685.
Yeah, hit us up on the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. I saw this from Pick Six Preview. Shout out my dad. He sent me this on Twitter. Conference champs, Strick, didn't win a game.
Yeah.
The 4 power conference champions and then Boise State, none of them won a game.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that to keep in mind. Teams with the first round bye, like you said, 0-4. So far, we have seen one score game and 7 games that have been decided by 10 or more points, which that's maybe a little bit different in basketball compared to football, because 10 points is still just a 2-possession game in football. You change 1 possession on offense, you change 1 possession on defense, and the game might flip. So to me, anything that's outside of 17 points is kind of, once you get to a 3-possession game, that's where I start saying, oh yeah, I mean, that was a blowout or inching toward blowout territory. But there's different reasons I think that each team lost. Strick, let's start on New Year's Eve. Boise and Penn State. Did Boise lose because of the bye? No, I think Penn State was more talented across the board. I think they showed it. Penn State had the better quarterback. Penn State was the deeper team, and Boise had plenty of opportunities, right? We talked about it a little bit. Boise, shot itself in the foot, but it outgained Penn State. It had more first downs, controlled the ball for longer. Penn State was just a little more talented across the board. I don't think that was necessarily, the Boise State was rusty that they lost, but it's one data point for, hey, maybe conference champs don't get the automatic bye to the next round. Same with Arizona State versus Texas, right? Texas was the more talented team. Even if it's Texas with the bye and Arizona State that had to play the week before, I don't think anyone's surprised if Texas wins, but maybe the rust contributed to Arizona State starting as slowly as it did. Who's to say? With Ohio State and Oregon, that's the one that I think we can distill a lot of this conversation down into, because you have the top overall seed and specifically this Oregon team that is so dependent on timing, on staying in rhythm and staying in flow. Sure, every team wants rest at the end of the year, but a team like Oregon, more so than Ohio State, I think didn't benefit from that time off because they were on a roll. Because they put up 45 points against a really good Penn State defense when they were in rhythm. You give them this much time off, I think they were a little out of sync and not necessarily juiced up. And then you worry about the seeding on top of the bye game without a home game, where Ohio State specifically, with the revenge factor for how that game went in Eugene, Ohio State definitely more talented than the number 8 team in the country. I mean, that's a top 2 or 3 talent team in the country that played down, that underachieved a little bit in the regular season. It was really the perfect storm in that game. And I don't even want to blame the rust for Georgia. Georgia's a team, Strick, that I really think needed the extra time to try to get Gunnar Stockton ready, right? Against a defense that has been so good like Notre Dame's. That is an elite defense this year. I don't think Georgia's mad about all the time off to game plan, prepare, and get their true freshman quarterback ready to play, meaningful snaps in the most meaningful game in his career. I think it was about time for it to come crashing down on Georgia. I really do. They'd won a couple in a row before Michigan got them. Georgia's still really good, still really talented, but there's just been an accumulation of stuff, from the off the field drama to having good players, but maybe not great elite players to the same level they did in previous years, to Carson Beck's injury, all of it. And then obviously the tragedy that happened in New Orleans the night before, obviously that affected both teams. But I just think it was about time for Georgia's bill to come due. It's about time for new blood. So I would say that of the 4 games, really only one of them is the Ohio State-Oregon game, where I'm going to point to rust as a true factor, but it doesn't change the fact that seeding needs to be addressed, and we need more home games in the college football playoff compared to more neutrals.
Yeah. And how they go about it, I don't care. I think there just needs to be some adjustments made on it. I also think that maybe a format shift. And again, we know that that's not going to happen, because the way that you said it on a format shift, you'd want to take it back a couple of teams, which by eliminating a couple of those teams would put it more on a NFL format, which I think wouldn't be a bad thing. But being that that's not going to happen, then there's only a few ways that you could go about making those adjustments. I suggested that, maybe you allow the highest ranked of that team, i.e. Oregon, to go ahead and make their choice as to where. But then committees, they walk around with their their heads high and their chest poked out, and you don't want to give that power away. It's kind of a power trip thing to them, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that should be fair. I think it would even be fun. I think it would draw more interest, right? You're talking about teams that are sitting at home and they have these watch parties like they do that's what it's created now. They used to do it waiting on the bowls. those kind of drowned out. They weren't interesting anymore. Now it's kind of where are we going to go, or who are we going to play, or what part of the bracket are we going to find ourselves in? So it's created a little bit more interest. I think it would create another form of that interest where there could be cameras there on site. You know where you're rated. Those other guys come through because they're not going to kick to you because you're waiting. You don't know. But you can go to each of those teams. You could go to Oregon first, right? The team sitting in there, they've had a discussion with their staff, their players. Where do y'all want to go? Who you want? And hey, you would be like, do we want the toughest bracket? Like think about that. Like your players may come back and say, we want the best of the best. Here's why. If we get through them early, we might, feel
good about ourselves.
More cruise on the way to the championship. Maybe we don't want to see them lay down. Like those are the type of decisions that could come out in that. And it can make it more interesting. Go to the second guy, the third guy, the last guy's like,
okay,
I gotta get what I got. How do you feel about that? Well, and then you have a little conversation. I think it could be a little bit more interesting and draw some more, they need TV ratings these days. So maybe it's a way to draw more TV ratings. I don't know.
I like what you're saying. Let's head to the text line, Strick. These people are going off. They have some thoughts on this as well. Again, 402-464-5685. Thunder Not Colin says, make it 16 teams, dump automatic qualifying, no buys, and reseed after round one. There's a lot there. That is a huge structural change.
A lot.
That really is a lot. 7201 says if they would have called the actual targeting call, probably would have changed the Arizona State game around. It absolutely would have. But again, Arizona State had every opportunity to not get down 17-3 to begin with in the first place. Yes, the targeting call was bad, but
pause.
Another place to look at too.
Pause. On that note, there is a possibility, and I think they might have even petitioned for a change in that situation. Obviously, the committee could do it if they wanted to, because if you watch the replay and you go and look at the rules, I'm not going to run it down to you because we don't have enough time, but I'm going to say it real quick. Kick goes up, that ball's live. If who was it? Arizona State and who?
Mm-hmm. And Texas.
Who was it? Texas.
Arizona State, Texas.
If Texas had somebody back there, they could have received it and ran it back for touchdown, extra yards, whatever the case may be, right? But they didn't. That ball is still live. The ball lands and it bounced through the upright.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like in basketball. You can throw the ball up. It can bounce. And if it goes in, it's considered a bucket. And it's not a three if you shot it from the three, though. It's only a two by rule. So that, in essence, should have been 3 points.
And prevented overtime.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. Go ahead, Austin.
Brian H., what do you think the results of the college football playoff would have been different if the seeds were determined after the playoff teams were decided, not that the top 4 were the conference champs? I guess, Brian, what I understand your question as is, would it have been different if the college football playoff was seeded NCAA tournament style? Because that's kind of what it's supposed to be, right? That's the other option that I suggested is think about the NCAA tournament. They seed it on the S curve, right? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down. So the number 1 overall seed gets the worst number 2 seed and the best number 3 seed. The number 4 1 seed gets the best number 2 seed, but the worst number 3 seed. It goes through and it snakes down. You can do that when it's divisible by 4, as long as the bracket is the appropriate number of teams. But that's where I think if you look at the final college football playoff rankings that we had, let me get those pulled up here really quickly. If we just seeded these teams 1 through 12, and that was their seed according to their rank, that's a lot different, right? Because then Oregon was number 1, Georgia number 2, Texas number 3, Penn State number 4. Those are your teams with first round buys. We would have had been Notre Dame hosting Arizona State, Ohio State hosting Alabama, Tennessee hosting SMU, and Indiana hosting Boise State. If we just take the rankings 1 through 12 and make the ranking equivalent to the seed. Yes, I think it's incredibly different, right? I still think Notre Dame beats Arizona State. They move on. Ohio State, Bama would have been a heck of a game. I still probably lean Ohio State, especially if they're playing like this. Tennessee, SMU, probably a little bit more of a toss-up, I think, than Tennessee, Ohio State turned into. Same with Indiana and Boise State. I think that would have been a really fun, really competitive game. So, yeah, I do think if we seeded according to rankings instead of the automatic buys and automatic berths, I think it would have been incredibly different, Strick.
No problems with me. Again, we're just spitballing, right? I mean, we put us on the committee, goddamn. Put the blockheads on the committee. They get stuff done, man. All that stuff they doing is bull junk, man. Put us on there, man. We get things done. The blockheads know what we talking about over here.
We're here. We ain't hard to find. Couple more
things.
That part. A couple more things from the text line. Old Dad 34. How is the bye week any different than back in the day when teams had a month off before a national championship game? It is a huge difference because think about that. If you're just playing one game and both teams have a similar amount of time off, whether it's the exact same day or maybe 1 or 2 days difference, that is a big difference compared to having 3 weeks off to prepare for your bowl game and then 4 weeks off, right? You do get an extra week of rest, but then there's the other part, Strick. With the national championship game, it was always at a neutral site, at a bowl game, whichever bowl game it was tied to, that's where you went. Right now, the team that has one less week of rest gets a home game. The team that has one more week of rest has a neutral site game, right? So the fairest way to do it is either get rid of all home sites or do more home sites, flip-flop it, or the NFL model, right? Think about the 1 seeds in the NFL. The 1 seed is the only seed in either conference that gets a bye. The 2 seed doesn't get a bye. The 3 seed doesn't get a bye. The 4 seed doesn't get a bye. They have to play the first round, but they get a home game. So what's the benefit of being the number 1 seed? Not only do you get the bye week, you also get a home game. If this game is in Eugene, I think it's a lot easier for Oregon to rally at home in that environment as opposed to a more neutral Rose Bowl. If Boise State is playing in Boise instead of at a neutral site, it's probably easier for that team to rally together. That's the problem, is that these top seeds, they only get one benefit. They don't get more benefits. Because if you can talk yourself into having a better path as the 5 seed or the 6 seed compared to the 1 seed, that's a problem with the format of the tournament itself. It's just inequitable. It doesn't work out to a place where the regular season is valued for these top teams because they don't get the best of both worlds that they earned over the course of 12, probably 13 games throughout the regular season.
Okay. Yeah. I think there should be more benefits to it. But again, how that comes about is okay. We'll figure it out. Hopefully, well, they'll figure it out. We've already dang near could have given them a whole bunch of ways to get it done. But, we'll see what pans out. And hopefully one that Stricky said, pans out.
Hey, a couple more things on the text line here. Greg in Tilden says, Oregon was not a victim of the format. Oregon had the opportunity to watch that Ohio State team mop the floor with Tennessee. Who did they expect to show up? Oregon was ill-prepared to beat that Ohio State team. And then also says, I thought Georgia showed up rested, not rusted. They got out coached. I think Georgia was just at a disadvantage with Gunnar Stockton against a really, really good defense. And Georgia's offense never got on track like Notre Dame's did. And we'll talk more about that coming up here in just a minute. But yeah, any team in the country is going to be ill-prepared to beat an Ohio State team like that. When Ohio State is clicking like that, they are tough to beat. That's entirely the point. But that doesn't mean Oregon, doesn't deserve to have more of an advantage for having a better regular season. I think that's where I come down on it. And then last thing, James in Lincoln says, wait a minute, is Strick saying that a field goal that bounces and goes over the upright counts? I've never heard that before. I think you and I saw the same thing.
It's in the rule.
Yeah,
it's in the rule. You can go look it up. Go look up the NFL rule. I saw it. I saw the actual rule. If it hits in play and it bounces in the turf and it goes through the upright, by rule, that's still a live ball and it's good. By rule, they missed it. And that's what there's a complaint about.
Yeah, I saw that. I think we saw the same tweet. I don't know where in the rule book that is found, whether that's college, NFL, or whatnot. Definitely deserves some looking into, because if the refs didn't know that and they missed it, Arizona State has a legitimate gripe. I assume that Arizona State has looked into it or is looking into it, but it might just be too late because we're about a week away from the next games. Let's go to break. Let's continue this college football discussion. The winners and the losers. Which winner needed the win the most? Which loser can build back the best and make the most of their one and done or their two and done showing in the college football playoff? We'll get back to that, some college football playoff discussion here during On the Block.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, realignment, or even new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at doorsplusllc.com or give them a call at 402-590-5800.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at CoppelCars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Patriot Plumbing at 402-464-7411 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-464-7411.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th, but if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back here on the block. Austin Norman and Eric Strickland with you 2 to 4 weekdays here during On the Block. Stricky, we put this out on the On the Block Twitter account. How did we do predicting the college football playoff teams? Did you see that tweet? Did you see it?
Yeah, I know you want to bring it up. I know you want to bring it up.
I thought we did fine. It wasn't perfect, but not bad.
Not too bad. I missed a couple.
We both missed a couple.
Yeah.
And let's just really quickly go over this. I'll get mine out of the way first. I hit on Ohio State, Georgia, Notre Dame, Texas, Oregon. I hit on Clemson. I hit on Penn State. And I hit on Boise State. So I got 8 out of the 12. My misses were Ole Miss, one of the first 2 or 3 teams out of the field. Oklahoma State had a horrendous, horrific, awful year. That was a big miss on my part. Alabama, the first team out of the field. I said they were going to be in it, but they weren't. And then Florida State, another very horrible, awful, no good year for them. You, Stricky, hit on Georgia, Texas, Oregon, Ohio State. You nailed Tennessee. You were the only one of us that got Tennessee. You also got Penn State and Clemson. You said Florida State, like I said. You said Alabama, like I said. Your other 3, Kansas State, Arizona, and Appalachian State.
Boo. That was a boo moment. Boo. Sheesh. But it's all good. I mean, look, we had fun with it. I mean, I thought I didn't do too bad. I mean, I like to have done better, but it's all good.
That's what I'm saying. And here's the thing. Now we have a year of experience picking a bigger field. We'll be better next year. So just thought that was interesting to do a little bit of a year in review. Anthony in Portland, really appreciate your text on the text line. We're going back and forth a little bit. Good thoughts. I think we're both just kind of saying the same thing in different ways. Tricky, let's talk some more college football playoff here for the next 5-10 minutes or so. Let's start with the teams that have been eliminated from the 12-team bracket. 8 teams are gone. 4 of them remain. If you look at the 8 teams that have gone home that suffered a loss in the college football playoff, whether it was in their first game or in their second game, is there a program or two that you think will gain the most benefit in the next few years from just being a part of the college football playoff, no matter how long their stay was? Which of the losing teams do you think have, the biggest opportunity in front of them just by making it to the first 12-team playoff?
Okay. This is a pretty good one. But I'm picking the best one, right? The best team I felt, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the biggest beneficiary, I believe, because I want to talk big conference. So I actually think Indiana probably benefits. One, they came over from, James Madison. So from where they came, and they brought over players that were unsung, a lot of people didn't like. So they have a system. They have an evaluation system. They'll be able to hit the portal. They'll have a story. They'll have, you can help us to go to the next level. We didn't have enough at this position. Indiana, I think, probably has some money. And
well, you know the guy that has Indiana's money.
Well, of course. Yeah. Yeah. Down in Texas.
Anyways,
I know.
Sorry. Continue.
So when you look at it from that standpoint, they have a story. They have a means of evaluation. They're in one of the biggest conferences. And I think they probably benefit pretty well for going, especially if they want to land a quarterback, if they want to, land some skill position players. Yes, we loved our skill position, but we need another next level guy. We're on the verge of a breakthrough. We feel that you're the guy that can get us there. So I think I'm going to say Indiana.
I like it. You have at least one person agreeing with you on the text line. 5124 says Indiana is the move. Going to be interesting to watch Indiana. Now, some news came out today that Curtis Rourke is going to have some surgery on his knee. There's some rumors that he suffered this injury pretty early in the year. He was still balling out on knee injury of some sort. We'll see if Taven Jackson is the guy, or if he hits the transfer portal, what it means to him to stick around and take over for Curtis Rourke. Indiana really intrigues me, Stricker. I think being in the Big Ten, they're in good position. The question's always going to be the follow-up, right? Can Kurt Cignetti and company keep it rolling in year two, right? I think Colorado almost had it easier because they were so bad in year one that there was nowhere to go but up in year two. And now Colorado, was better, and they still have room to grow. I don't know how Indiana grows from this. I don't see them going 11-1 again next year. And I don't think that's being a hater. I think just some natural regression, even if they are a 9-3 team next year, even 8-4, that's still a rousing success for that team and that program. I'm fascinated to watch. I mean, I think Arizona State, we have a couple people on the text line saying, Lemonhead says hands down ASU. Thundernot Collins says ASU could be back next year. I'm going to throw out a different option here. SMU. To me, it's SMU because Indiana plays in a conference that's hard for them to get. Arizona State right now is the pop-up. They relied so heavily on the transfer portal. Levitt being back will be a big help. I'm a Kenny Dillingham fan, but that Big 12 cannibalizes itself year in year out. I'm not saying Arizona State can't do it. I think they'll get a spark from this, but the team that I think needed this the most and can benefit the most moving forward, Strick, is SMU. Because think about how SMU is bankrolling and funding itself right now with the booster, with the donors. It's not getting that ACC television money. And now that's great money, but for every business, every investor, you want to see return on that investment to make sure it's still worth it. There is an unnatural and unhealthy potentially drive from SMU boosters and donors to see SMU succeed, which is to their credit. They need it. They need that investment to stay afloat in the ACC, which, for all its flaws, is still a power conference. If SMU had gone 7-5 in year one in the ACC, I'm sure they wouldn't be hurting for money, but they make some boosters, some donors skeptical. Is this really worth it? I know I'm bought into the long-term plan, but there are always some guys that seem bought in at the beginning. First sign of trouble, they want to dip. I don't know how strong these SMU guys are in their commitment, but I would think the regular season that they had, making it all the way to the ACC championship game and then still qualifying for the college football playoff, I think that season is going to keep those boosters, those donors invested for a long time, or at least a little bit longer, because they've seen the payoff. They know that it's possible and that it's achievable. If they can do it in year one, what's to say they can't still be doing it in year 4 and year 5?
Well, and the beautiful thing about that too is they feel they got their quarterback, and to be a young quarterback and to almost get them back into a win, I think they feel that there's a lot of lessons that they can learn from that. Just think about what that could have done for Dylan Raiola if they put themselves in a similar position, right? He's going to learn invaluable lessons. He's going to learn from the mistakes that he made. He's gonna grow out of those. He's gonna learn from the resilience that it took to stay in it mentally, and for his coaches to stay with him and to keep him mentally engaged. There's a lot of, so you got your quarterback set, and it's now just filling in those pieces. But one thing I can tell you that they did, they went down to Miami, they went down to Florida, and they got some of them athletes and brought them on up to Texas and put them in good situations right there in Dallas, down at SMU. So, hey, you never know. I think you are onto a good point there, Austin.
The other teams that I think we just at least mention at the very least, Tennessee thinks it should be back. Tennessee sees a little bit more, so they're not exactly thrilled with just having made the playoff.
Young quarterback too. Young quarterback
as well. Mm-hmm. Oregon, heated, so upset right now with their performance. They expect to be back year after year with their talent level. The interesting one for me, Strick, is Boise. Part of the reason I predicted Boise State to make the college football playoff is because that's just who Boise is. That's just what Boise does, right? When you think about these mid-major, not underachieving, but undercovered, I guess, Cinderella types of programs in college football, Boise comes to mind first with what they were able to do in the Mountain West Conference, in the WAC for a while as well. The battles between them and TCU, obviously the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma. Boise State is the Cinderella program of college football, right? They crash the party, they make a scene, they have a good time with it, and they acquit themselves well. Obviously, a talented roster helps. And this isn't going to hurt Boise State, but to me, Boise State's reputation is secure. People know who Boise is. People know what Boise is about, which is where I think that, it's obviously very meaningful to that community, but that's kind of the expectation for them, that they're going to dominate the group of five, almost Gonzaga style, right? If we look at the college basketball example, I think Boise's pretty comfortable in that. So they feel good about it. They're proud of themselves. But I think Indiana needed a spark more than Boise. I think Arizona State needed a spark more than Boise. And I still think it means more to SMU to do that in year one in the ACC than it does to Boise State fans, boosters, and donors, because that's just part of the identity of Boise. Is that fair? Does that make sense?
Yeah, all fair assessments, and I think all will benefit in some form or fashion. But again, the question is who most would benefit, and that's where I think we threw our things to make. I actually think you have a really good point for SMU, because you're right; they're bankrolling their own situation. You know what I mean? And they're not getting the benefits of a lot of the extra conference money that would come in and help in that process. And so it goes to show you that we see the history of what SMU has done going all the way back, and we know why they got the death penalty. They've always had paperwork, so we know that that's not a problem for SMU, but they was doing it way back then. Now they're just basically in a place where it's legal. So I don't think SMU will have a problem. It's just a matter of how the team is able to assess their talent and bring those guys in. But you've got a great foundation starting at the quarterback position, and you just continue to add additions in specific places and fill in holes, and you should be all right.
I think we can flip this conversation around to the winners. The semifinals are set. We have our two matchups. Which semifinal team is happiest to be in the semifinals? Which is most proud of their accomplishment? We'll flip the conversation around to the college football playoff quarterfinal winners to wrap up hour one of On the Block.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new Hack Squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
New year, new you? Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping can help make sure you keep that resolution this time. Our proven system combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition, along with our expert coaching to make sure you're moving forward toward your goals. The next 10-week challenge starts January 11th, but if you enroll now, you can start today and get a head start on those gains for no extra cost. Plus, head to fxblincoln.com and you can save $100. Don't wait. Barrel's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back, one final segment for hour one of On the Block, talking some Husker hoops and a little more college football in hour two of the show, so don't go anywhere for that. But Strick, the college football playoff semifinals are set. Some pretty heavyweight matchups. You get Ohio State and Texas on the top of the bracket and Penn State, Notre Dame on the bottom of the bracket. When you look at those four teams, which of them do you think it's the biggest accomplishment for? Which fan base is the most proud of just making it to the semifinals? Who do you think?
Bruh, I'm going to say there's three of these teams are one the three of these teams are one and the same. You remember that old school cartoon where they used
I'm not 36 like you. How am I supposed to remember that?
That's old school. Yo, what was the name of that? 402. I love y'all. See, when they come into my head, y'all give it to me. 402-464-5668. I think it was on Sesame Street. Well, one of these kids are one and the same thing, and three of these. It was a little song that went like that. But anyway, there's 3 teams right there, Austin. 3 that right now are elated to be in this position. Because a lot of them have been considered, baby brother,
fraud,
stepchild, all whatever you want to call it, right? But out of the 3, those 3 are, to me, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, all for their own reasons, right? Start with Ohio State. It is because everyone has been calling for the head of Ryan Day. And in this, outside of Michigan, he has basically put himself in a position when they were quiet, when Tennessee was running their mouth. They didn't really say nothing. They stayed about their business. They had already lost to Oregon. Everybody kind of ripped them off and thought that they was going to, and they beat the brakes off of them. And now here comes big bad boy Texas. And they still probably feel good about the situation right now. Whether they win or lose this game, I think they feel better about it, right? Especially if they compete. Now, if they get blown out, there's going to be some talks. There may be some wonders as to where those flukes or whatever, but I think they've gotten past that. All right. Then you go to the next one on my list is Notre Dame. Notre Dame has always felt like they have been able to get there. They've had enough talent to get there, but they've always fallen short, and they just weren't good enough, weren't fast enough, weren't strong enough, weren't physical enough, weren't big enough. There was always some reason as to why they got their butts handed to them. Pause. But in the meantime, in between time, they got over that hump, and that's good for them. They're there now. They've also been to a championship game, so this part is not necessarily their ultimate goal. They want to get back to championship. Man, how long has it been for Notre Dame? By the way,
it's the 80s, I think.
Right? Yeah, right. Is Notre Dame like the modern day Cowboys, where every year they think they're going to get there?
88,
right?
88.
It's been a long time. It's worse than Nebraska at this point, right? But at least they're in the doggone. Okay, let me stop. Okay. I'm going to say Penn State. Because this is close as Penn State's got to getting a whiff of a possible championship. Let me just say that. They've always been third-rate, third-class citizen, while what's the guy's name on the Titanic? What was his name? Not Leonardo, but what was his name in the movie?
Jack.
Yeah.
There
you go.
Yep.
Jack came in on the third class. He's where all the rats was. He was down at the bottom of the boat. You know what I'm saying? He kind of worked his way to the top, where all the other programs have been in the first class, right? They all up top. And, he up there with his arms sprung out, woo, I'm the king of the world. That's how they feel right now. They feel like they come out the basement to the top, and now they playing footsies with the high class. You know what I'm saying? That's what it feels like. So I got to say Penn State.
I like it. So Texas, I'm with you. It does not. This is business as usual for them, right? They were here in the semifinals last year. Had to win their couple games to get here, but they're here. They did it. I think this is right where Texas expected to be. Ohio State's a fascinating dynamic because I think on one hand, it's Ohio State can legitimately play the no one believed in us card. They wanted to get rid of us card, and it's not a completely ridiculous statement. But I also think that's such a championship or bust fan base and a championship or bust program that despite the trials and tribulations, I don't think Ohio State fans are thrilled with being in the semifinals. I think they think of this is their birthright. So even if this team can say, yeah, we're the underdogs, you guys counted us out, and we're finally finding our groove, I think Ohio State generally thinks it deserves to be here and should have been here almost regardless. So I see where you're coming from with Ohio State. I like it in one aspect. I don't see it in the other. But I think the bottom game, bottom of the bracket game between Penn State and Notre Dame. Both of those teams have a great argument to be so happy with just being here. And they wouldn't tell you that. They obviously have their sights set on bigger things. I'm not trying to say either team's just content. For Penn State, right, littlest brother in the Big Ten East behind Ohio State and behind Michigan, can never win the big one, never got over the hump, never got to the 4-team playoff. They had to win 2 games just to get to what would have been the regular 4-team playoff. It's a huge step in the right direction for them and for that program. But Strick, I think to me, the answer is Notre Dame, because this is a program that, again, has made the playoff before and got completely embarrassed in its other showings. Did not look good. Didn't look like it belonged really in the slightest. Had to upgrade physically, but even more than that, Strick, I think they had to upgrade mentally. This Notre Dame team walks differently. This Notre Dame team carries itself differently than the team that Manti Te'o said looked over at Alabama in 2012 and said, oh boy, it's going to be a long night. Oh boy, those guys look different. Notre Dame's not saying that now. Maybe part of the help in that is that they got to start their playoff run off in typical arrogant Notre Dame fashion. It's Indiana. It's little brother. We don't care about them. We know they're not as good as us. We're here on a business trip. It's home. They don't stand a chance. I think that was good for Notre Dame. If Carson Beck had played, I wonder how different the game would have gone, because I think Notre Dame is a fan base and as a team, whether or not they will admit it, buys into the hype around some of these bigger, higher profile SEC teams. Bama smacked it a couple times in some of these big games. We've seen that happen before as well.
Oh,
correct. Pause. My bad. But I do think that Carson Beck being out and the combination of what Marcus Freeman has brought to this team mentally, Notre Dame didn't walk into that game scared like it seems like they have in years past. So I think with the drought for both Penn State and for Notre Dame, it's between those two teams. You lean Penn State, I lean Notre Dame, and I don't think there's a wrong answer in there. So I think that'll be good. We'll come back in hour number 2. We will talk some Nebraska men's basketball against UCLA, and then we will get into the SEC losing some of its advantage. Funny how when everyone can start paying players, things balance out. Shane Gillis.
I'm the great Cornholio. I need TP.
He's the great Cornholio, Eric Strickland. I'm Austin Norman. Hour 2 of On the Block next.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
League One Volleyball is bringing the action to Omaha with Omaha's first serve on January 24th at 7 p.m. Central Time at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. Witness history in the making as Love Omaha Volleyball takes on Love Madison in the team's inaugural home match. Be there to watch Olympic teammates Jordan Larson and Lauren Carlini go head-to-head in a battle of the world's best. Visit lovboma.com for tickets starting at $31. Volleyball is the next major league.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and the holiday sales event is now underway with unbelievably low interest rates and huge discounts on both our new and pre-owned inventory. Right now, we're offering 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. These are the absolute biggest discounts of the year. You heard right, 0% interest rates or $13,000 off select new models. So please stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit, must trade, and Costco.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, We understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys, you'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
If you're sick of catering from the same places every month, it's time to switch things up. Mulberry Barbecue is perfect for business lunches and dinners, family gatherings, holiday parties, wedding receptions, rehearsal dinners, and so much more. Delivery and full service options are available, and they can cater for anything from 10 people to 500 people. Call them at 402-937-7114 to hear their menu options and get your catering booked today. Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker Highway.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Bryant at 402-467-1111 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-467-1111.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome in hour 2 of a Friday show. Just a couple days into 2025. We are off. We are rolling. And we are not alone. Blockheads, we appreciate you. Keep the same energy. Keep the same intensity for us on our text line, on our comment section. Again, the number for the text line brought to you by Sartor Heyman Jewelers, 402-464-5685. Strick, you got the text line pulled up?
Tap into the Sartor Heyman text line, yeah. That's what you do, brother. Did I do a good job of that, Austin?
No, you did an incredible job. Hell yeah. Fire me up. Fire me up. You got the text line pulled up?
Huh?
You got the text line. Do you have the text line pulled up?
I got it.
Okay, Jeff G says he sent in the song that you were singing. Jeff G.
I got him. Let me see, Jeff.
He says it might be this.
One of these things not like the others, and one of these things thing does not belong. Can you tell what the thing is not like the other that do the belong? Oh yeah, that's a song. It's Sesame Street. I know it was Sesame Street.
There you
and
go.
It was kind of hey Jeff. Hey man, see, that's why we love our blockheads because they take care of us, man. I gotta admit, the blockheads are a little bit better than you, Austin, because it took you a while.
It did.
I used to have to tap into the blockheads because we were here.
We're here.
It took you a little bit for me and you to get here, but you started catching me. You started beating the blockheads, actually. So, shout out to you. Salute. Thank you, blockheads, once again. That's the song I was looking for. I knew you guys would get it. All right, where we at? Let's go.
We are at Nebraska men's basketball versus UCLA. Massive game. I don't think we can overstate just how big a game is for this program. Really no downside in it. UCLA is also an incredible team this year. They're off their roll and they're playing well. They recently beat Gonzaga in a game that was in Los Angeles. UCLA's deep. They're talented. And here's the thing, Strick. UCLA might even be better defensively than Nebraska is. If we look at Ken Palm's defensive ratings, right now UCLA is number 4 in the country defensively. Nebraska ranks number 15. If we go to Evan Miyakawa, one of my other favorites, he has UCLA. Where'd they go? They're at number 20 overall, the number 6 defense, compared to Nebraska at Evan Miyakawa is in the top 25. And then Bart Torvik is the other one that I like to go to. If you pull up his offensive and defensive efficiency numbers, UCLA is at number 4 in the country. Then we scroll down, we find Nebraska at number 8. 2 incredible defensive teams, 2 long, lengthy teams. They're versatile, got a lot of different types of defenders that are very good. And Strick, I think this is a great question for you because that's what you hung your hat on, right? That was your calling card, was defense, was being committed on that end. Your teams that had a defensive identity, whether it was in college or whether it's in the pros, was it easier for those teams to lean into the defensive identity in a game where the other team is bringing it defensively and that you got to be better than them because you're both competing for the title of best defense? Or on the flip side, was it easier for you to lock in on defense when you knew you had an elite offense on the other side, where it's a challenge and everyone has to accept that challenge? Or was it just, it doesn't matter who you play games on?
Okay. Austin, everything that you just said, it's a part of all of that. And it varies depending on what those situations are, right? In a lot of those situations, it's just game on, right? Just say that's the case. There's going to be situations when you are going to face 2 teams. Let me just start with the offensive side first. There are teams like that were like Phoenix that you knew they were going to run and gun. So your goal in those situations as a defensive team is you understand that they're going to score. You just got to be disciplined. And so the things that you want to make sure that you do is eliminate easy opportunities. When you have an offensive-minded team, it's easy opportunities and extra opportunities that you don't want to give them, because if they're proficient in scoring, they're going to be proficient in scoring. And usually extra opportunities when a team is proficient in scoring usually leads to an open shot because everybody's kind of just in disarray. So if you give a guy, boom, the ball kicks out, it goes long, a quick whip to a swing, and then boom, somebody gets an open shot, and guess what usually happens? Bang.
They hit it.
Usually. I mean, it's not always, but usually, right? Okay. So that's the thing. It's easy opportunities and minimize possessions and opportunities there. So you want to secure rebounds. You want to do all of that stuff, right? Okay. Last one I'm going to move to is the defense. So that's like when we used to play, I remember at Boston, when we used to play Detroit, that's what they were good at. They were really good at defense. We knew we have to get after them defensively. And there were other teams like that, but that was one of those teams that we knew that we just had to be 1 or 2 points or possessions better than them. Right? So for us, Austin, it was one of those situations where we were just basically like, the way you win those games is scrappy, more deflections, transition, more points in the paint than them, Make sure you knock down the open looks you get, which is going to be minimal in this game. Secure extra rebounds. So you've got to win those categories like rebounding. So you want a defensive rebound. You want to have more easier opportunities. You want to touch the paint more than them, because if you're touching the paint more than this team does, they're going to lead to more open shots than they're going to get. So for us, it's keeping them out of the paint. And so it's that type of thing. You feel what I'm saying? It's the little things. It's doing the hard things more and better than they do it and longer than they do it. So if they're going to play defense for, 40 minutes, you play it for 44, better than them. And you want to get all the loose balls. You want pause. You want to get all of the extra possessions. You want to get more offensive rebounds. You want to get more transition. So the more of those categories like that you can win against a defensive team that are two defensive-minded teams, that's the way you're going to win those games.
If you look at both of these teams,
does it make sense? Did that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Because you think about it in football, right? You think about like an Iowa versus Wisconsin game in the Big Ten West. There's not going to be many possessions, so you got to maximize the ones that you do have. Yeah. And what comes up big in these games?
Field position.
It's field position.
That's what wins those. Go ahead.
And I think in basketball, you can look at field position as transition, right? Can you get easy opportunities? Can you jump in a passing lane? Can you run in transition if they go flying out of bounds? That to me is going to be what the quote unquote field position is in this game. But the other thing, Strick, in games with fewer possessions and tighter margins, how do you maximize possessions? By not giving them away. Both Nebraska and UCLA force turnovers at a pretty good rate, and they turn it over at about the same rate on offense. Nebraska is not the only team in the country to commit some careless turnovers, some dumb turnovers, and to get into some ruts offensively, right? UCLA will do the exact same thing. But Strick, if there's ever a day for Nebraska to focus on not giving away possessions, to make sure every pass is two-handed and crisp, and to not let a 4-minute rut happen, limit it to 2 minutes, it's against a team like UCLA, who is just as committed as you on the defensive end, and who comes into your building with something to prove. They know it's been a while since Nebraska's lost at Pinnacle Bank Arena. They know they're the blue blood. They want to be the ones to put an end to this streak. There is not a game, maybe Creighton, that up to this point, in my opinion, deserves the same level of focus as Nebraska brings to UCLA prep throughout this weekend to tomorrow.
Yeah, and so let me expound or explain a little bit more in depth what I mean by paint touches. There's two things to paint touches. One, don't attack a good defensive team, especially one that gets about 3 blocks a game, right? You don't try to go in and challenge guys that you don't have to. Just get to that paint and get an open look. Your job is done once you get to the paint and you're able to jump stop, don't get off your feet and trying to find guys, because that's what they're good at. They're good at knowing where those they're good at, just like Nebraska is, they're good at funnel, knowing skip pass is really the only option you got because they're taking away everything else. So other defenses are very similar in that manner. So paint touches to you is shield, hide, and draw fouls. Get to the paint, draw 2, jump stop, find the next one, and touch the paint again to find the next one for a good look. Win the free throw battle. If they get there 15 times, you get there 17 times, you need to shoot 76% to their 68. Whoever wins that, those points are going to mean something when it comes down the line. So that's what I meant by paint touches. Let it be an advantageous thing to you. 1, for either open looks, 2, for fouls, and 3, for you winning that, because those are the things you need to win. Who wins the most of those categories that I talked about? Rebounding, offensive and defensive, total, rebounding, steals, transition point, points in the paint. So when you accumulate those, if they're even across the board, cool. But whoever marginalizes and wins the most of them, what can make up the difference for that, Austin? Free throws.
Yep.
3-pointers. There's different things that can make up that difference. Offensive rebounds, second chance points, transition points off of steal. Those are the things that can make up the difference in areas where you may be deficient. But if all things being equal, those categories that I spoke about, the one who wins that margin, just like in tug of war, the one who has winning the more of that margin, they're going to win that game. And I'm hoping we'll be able to come in and, in the post game and take a look at that.
I completely agree, Strick, and that's where I think there's definitely a slight edge to Nebraska. The Huskers have gotten to the foul line a little bit more regularly than UCLA has this year, and the Huskers have prevented free throws at a little bit better rate than UCLA have. Bruins about middle of the pack nationally. Nebraska about 75th, 80th percentile in both of those marks on offense and defense. So if you're Nebraska, you can't settle. And I think there's two big things to go off what you said, Strick. Number one, you can't just attack a good defense on a whim, and you can't do it first sight. Unless there is a crazy matchup with Bear K on a guard or Bryce Williams on a big man, that ball's got to touch at least both halves of the court and hopefully all four corners, right? Because no matter how good a defense is, what beats a good defense? Player movement, right? Making those guys work, getting them into long closeout situations, attacking until you get that 4-on-3 or that 3-on-2 at the very end of a good possession. It's going to be work, but it's going to be worth it. This is not a game where Nebraska can just say, Bryce, everyone else is locked in on defense. You got to go take 25 or 30 shots. No, you got to still run. You still got to work. You still got to hit people on screens. No matter how good a scorer Bryce Williams is, it's going to be tough enough as it is. Don't make him go 1-on-1 or 1-on-3. Move, because it's going to make everyone's job easier, even if it's more running. And then as a big part of that, Strick, you mentioned that the 3-pointers. Connor Seaton needs to have a big day. He's an X factor in this one because when he gets in the game, UCLA is going to say, where's 0? Let's go set a screen with his man, get him switched. We're going downhill right at him. If Connor Seaton is hitting, 4, 5, 6 3-pointers, I think he's playable. But if Connor Seaton is off and he's, if he goes 3 for 11, Nebraska probably loses the game. If he goes, 5 for 10, Nebraska's got a good shot. But Fred Hoiberg and I think his staff have to identify very early on, is this a Connor Seaton game where his offense can get us some buckets over the top of the defense? Or do we need to lean into some Raleigh Wooster, lean into some Sam Hoiberg, Aaron Eulis if he's available, or some more 2 big lineups off the bench to really lean into the defense? I think the first 4 to 8 minutes will be a big tell for the type of impact Connor Seaton can have on the game.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt. When you go back and you look at it, there was things about Nebraska's Nebraska basketball's ability to win games. We saw that it was the diversity of the team, meaning one night from the next, you didn't know who it was going to be. But when it mattered, games that mattered, i.e. your Northwestern and your Purdue's, it was Keisei Tamanaga. Because Keisei Tamanaga is a version of Connor Seaton. Keisei can't play defense to save his life. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he gives effort. I'm not going to knock him for the effort. He gives great effort. But we saw at Texas A&M that they looked at Keisei Tamanaga, and they look like the cats on Shark Tale. Fish are friends. They're not food. But they switched it around. They said they're
not friends. Shark meat, ooh-rah-rah. Shark meat, ooh-rah-rah.
Either it's going to look like that or he's going to be effective. And when Keisei is on and he's going off and he's able to cut and backdoor and do all of those things, there was value in that. There was winning in that. And then there was times where they had to sit Keisei down. They had to put Sam Hoiberg in because Sam Hoiberg can move them feet. He was able to create turnovers, get deflections, and do other things. Sam Hargrave saved them about at least 4 games, I can tell you for sure, where defensively it was time to lock somebody down, and he put the clamps on somebody. So there's times when that mattered. And there was times when Bryce went off, and then there was times where they needed Rick to go off. So that's what you had there. In this game, I agree with you. I think they need to assess what's going on with the season. I think if it's not going for them and defensively he's a liability, you come back in the second half. It's always good to have somebody get a sniff, get a smell, put him back in there, see what happened, because he could get rolling. And you find out these little small moments to get him in just to see, okay, is he rolling? Get him a couple touches. Okay, come on over here, young fella. Let's have a seat. It's not your night. And then that's how it should go.
And that's, Strick, I think another fascinating part of, maximizing possessions is when can Nebraska sub? What are the right moments for it? Can they get the right guys in the game at the right time? Because both Nebraska and UCLA are deep teams. They're not teams that have, only 6 or 7 guys they trust. But when it comes to maximizing possessions, this is a game where I think it's also about maximizing minutes on an individual level, not stat chasing, not stat hunting, but in the mindset of, I'm going to go as hard as I can when I'm tired because I've been working my butt off on defense. I'm going to tell coach that I need a break. Someone else get in there. I trust that you're going to give that same effort defensively for as long as you're in the game, and then I'll be ready to pick it up and do it again. Both teams go 8 deep pretty comfortably. 9, maybe 10 guys will have to play, I think, for both sides. So if Nebraska or UCLA look at their lineups, to me, whichever coach manages the substitutions and can get his team on a run first, get his team on a run last, or mitigate the opponent's run quicker, it's, again, one of those little margins where 1 or 2 possessions of leaving a guy who's tired in for 1 or 2 possessions too long might end up making the difference in a game like this tomorrow night or afternoon.
Well, here's the thing. This team, and this is why I love the versatility of Nebraska as opposed to theirs. This team is very guard heavy. Missing William Kyle, who was an extra size man, and their center, Ade Mara, he doesn't play very much. So he may log heavier minutes, but they're very guard heavy. They don't rebound or anybody, they collective rebound. And their smaller guards don't really rebound at all. So for me, it's going hard at Tyler Bilodeau. It's going at him. It's attacking him. It's trying to get him in foul trouble early. He's their second best rebounder. One of their guards is their best rebounder, and Kobe Johnson. He's their best defender as well. But at the same time, if you go at him and you make Kobe have to work that much harder, yes, they're deep, but you should be attacking with at least 3 guys for offensive rebounds with size. You want to pound them, pause, and basically try to get them in foul trouble and attack them, as opposed to just allowing them to just run free and Rashad with a smaller lineup. That's what I would do. I would go after him early, try to get Bilodeau in foul trouble.
I really like that, Chuck, because I think there's 2 schools of thought. I'm with you. UCLA isn't huge, and we've seen teams with athletic guards and quick guards give Nebraska fits before. There's not a Terrence Shannon Jr. or a Wade Taylor IV on this UCLA team, but to your point, it is guard-oriented. UCLA and its guards are more athletic across the board than Nebraska's. So if they're going to be more athletic, but they're not going to rebound, what that tells me Nebraska has to do is one of 2 things. Either do your strategy and attack them on the offensive glass, make them do something they don't want to do in getting Juwan Gary, have a big day. Andrew Morgan, Berke Boyiktanjel, don't float on the perimeter. Crash the glass. They're not interested in rebounding. What I wonder if happens, though, we haven't seen a big focus on offensive rebounding from Nebraska. So does Fred Hoiberg and his staff say, you know what? We don't want to go one and done, but we'd rather not get beat in transition, right? Michigan State did that to them all day with its guards. Again, not a huge team, not a very imposing post presence for Michigan State, but they still were able to get out in transition because Nebraska didn't decide either to get back or to go crash the glass. Pick a strategy, commit to it for 40 minutes, even if it doesn't work for the first 5 minutes, or it works for 5, it doesn't work for 5. Pick a strategy, commit to it, something will pay dividends at the end of the game, but Nebraska can't get caught in between like it did in East Lansing.
Agree. I think worst case scenario, you work it for a half and then make the adjustment thereafter. If you're a good defensive team, you're going to win. Hopefully they're not going to out offensive rebound you with guards. That's the first thing. So you've got to figure that you're going to secure on that side. You're going to get possessions. That means your offensive possessions have got to be crisp, clean, and proficient. There. Crash on the offensive side for at least a half. You may give up some transition. That's okay. That's still one possession. As long as you're not giving up extra possessions. But if you can gain extra possessions, now you're changing the game a little bit. So you've got to figure out which area of those stat categories that you want to try to maximize in order to win. To me, more possessions with efficient possessions gives you a win, because I think in the long run, as long as we're securing defensive rebounds and not giving up a bunch of offensive rebounds, and that means we're checking guys, we're making sure there's no long rebounds on three-point shots. We're not just running and looking up at the basket with athletic guards who can jump a little bit and doing all that stuff. You're going to secure those possessions, but you may get some extras that's going to help you, because you also want to win the points in the paint. If you're not going to win the transition game, okay, we'll give that one away. But we want to win these other categories, because in a defensive match, we want to maximize which categories we win.
I love it. That's a great preview. I think that's one of the best basketball previews he's had all year, and it makes sense. It is a huge game for Nebraska men's basketball, hosting number 15 UCLA tomorrow, 1 o'clock at PBA. I'll be down there. We'll hop on for post-game right after the game, so make sure you stick around for that. Hopefully we're celebrating a huge Husker win. We'll talk about the ramifications of the win.
Stricky will be there too.
In spirit.
Stricky will be there too.
Oh, Stricky making it back? Ooh! There we go. There we go. Stricky in the building. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. We love to hear it. You know you're flying into a snowstorm, right?
I'm banking on the fact I won't be there if it snows.
It's
but
snowing
if
right
it
now.
holds up, is it really?
I'm trying to tell you, it is literally snowing out the window right now. I'll send you a video and break. It's sticking.
Oh, well, if it's snowing,
you already told people you're going to be here. You can't let him down.
If it's snowing, then Stricky's not going to make it.
Stricky, you already told people
I was hoping it would hold up. I was hoping it wouldn't start going until tomorrow night or tomorrow evening. No. Oh, that's all no bueno. Stricky, gotcha. Gotcha.
Dang.
If it gets thick, Stricky's not going to be there. That's a fact.
It's not thick. I mean, it's sticking a little bit, but it's worth it. You got to be here, Strick. It's a big game. We'll see. We'll see. He's Strick. I'm Austin. More on the block when we get back.
Download our app by searching for 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day wherever you are. More of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and so much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy new year. They are thankful for many things from 2023 and hope that 2024 brings prosperity for you and starts off well for everyone in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys, you'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're jumping back into some college football here during On the Block. Austin Norman and Eric Strickland are with you. Before we do that, Stricky, a couple things to finish up on from our Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line. Thundernut Collins says, pin it. Nebraska 79, UCLA 74. Love the optimism. Maybe a little too high scoring for my blood because UCLA is only allowed 75 points, I believe, is once, maybe twice this year. So if Nebraska does that, they are in great
If
shape.
Nebraska gets up there, their record is absolutely phenomenal. If I remember, they couple, 3, 4, maybe no more than 3 losses. I know I saw it earlier, but I can't remember exactly offhand, and it just got thrown at me, so I didn't really look it up. But if they get up above 75, 76, you might want to chalk it up. But 'cause I don't think UCLA gets up their record. No. I looked at their scoring, and let me see. I got it. I actually got them up. UCLA. Pause. Absolutely pause. Obviously, in their earlier games, Ryder, 85 to 50. All right, Lehigh, 80. You know what I'm saying? Idaho State. Fullerton. Teams like Southern Utah, but then you get into the conference, 69 Washington, 73 Oregon, 57 Arizona, then 111. So it's really skewed to me outside of they lost 74 with North Carolina, 62 Gonzaga. So it's not even that they get up there. When you're talking about good competition, good defense, they don't get there. So Nebraska's a very good defensive team. If they can keep them in the 65 to 70 range and they get up into the upper 70s, they're probably going to win that game, i.e. look at North Carolina.
Look at North Carolina, what they did. I think we have one data point either way, because if Nebraska gets up that high, you can see North Carolina, and it's comeback win. That's a comeback win for North Carolina against UCLA. You think that if Nebraska does get down, the Pinnacle Bank Arena crowd could draw a factor as soon as the Huskers get on a run and spark a comeback like Notre Dame had. The other thing, though, Strick, is look what UCLA did to Gonzaga. That is a top 5 offensive team in the sport almost year in and year out, and UCLA held that team under 65 points without Will Kyle. So either way, I think it's going to be a close game. A few years ago, I think UCLA comes in and walks the dog on Nebraska. But this program has really grown and leaned into it, and I'm glad we're getting a game like this at Pinnacle Bank Arena. I think it's going to be a fantastic moment for the program and for the team. Axel Foley on the text line, Strick. Snow's going to stop in 20 minutes. Book your flight. Come on.
All right, Axel Foley, talk to your boy, man. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can, get back, and it doesn't come early. Pause. It comes later in the evening. Pause. Make sure.
Just say what Dang. We're gonna move on.
Late snow.
73-69. Nebraska takes down UCLA. That'd be a huge resume.
I like that number. That number.
I'm closer with that one. I'm good with that. Stricky, let's get back to college football playoff, because the snow beat the sand pretty consistently. You got Penn State from up north, you got Notre Dame from up north, and you got Ohio State from up north. It's only Texas from the south that is in the college football playoff semifinals. Obviously, we have the Ohio State-Texas game to play. Ohio State is favored over Texas going into that one. No SEC in the national championship game last year, but it was Michigan taking down Washington after Alabama and Texas lose in the college football playoff semifinals. It's now only one SEC team remaining, along with 2 Big Ten teams and a kind of honorary Big Ten team. A take that I saw floating around the interwebs and on Twitter was, hey, look what happens to the SEC when everyone can pay players, not just the SEC is paying players behind closed doors. Funny how when you can't pay players on your own, how things level out. Do you buy that explanation? Is NIL and everyone being able to pay players the reason that there was no SEC in the championship game last year, and why all these SEC teams bowed out or missed the playoff this year? Is it NIL?
I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to say it does have something to do with it. Because if you really look into it, Texas is a huge NIL buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Long oil money, just big money. They got it. Okay. Now they skated in, they scraped by to get in. They got in though, and they do have that. They are now considered to be a SEC team by nature. Now here's to me the test case. Look at Oklahoma. Oklahoma, by way of tradition, coaching style, the ability to put players in the NFL, they had that story to sell. Location was cool, could pull from a lot of Texas players, get them just above the border. There was a lot of that going on for them. But guess what? Sorry, Oklahoma doesn't have a big donor base like that. Right. They don't have big money. They have money, but they don't have big money. So we see what's happened with that program, and we see why Lincoln Riley shot to where the money was. Doesn't necessarily mean that it panned out for him, but there's money in USC, big donor base, and you can just see by that move as you could do just an inference that was the reason behind it. Because guess what they did with Jordan Addison?
Paid him. Mm-hmm. Tampered with him and paid for him.
Tamper paid. Tamper paid. Okay, that's where. So when you look at a lot of these SEC schools outside of the big money Texas A&M, who it hasn't panned out for, and I believe Texas has paid more coaches right now than they paid in the The coaches, they got the big bucks, but they got the big bucks and no whammies. But you going down the line, Alabama has money, but they have money by winning tradition.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily have big donor base.
No.
Auburn doesn't have huge donor base. They have tradition, but they've fallen off. Even Florida doesn't have a big donor base have money, but just not, they have tradition, some tradition, just not. Florida State doesn't really have money, even though they're ACC, but people would think that you'd want to go and play in this type of place. Now, Miami has money. Miami does have
and they
money.
use it. They
because they're a private school. Yeah, they got money. They got money. We saw what they did with Pac in the basketball side. They got money. You can pay a basketball player that kind of okay. South Carolina, not really. Mississippi State, no, not really. So you go on that whole sector. Tennessee got some money. Tennessee got some money. They got money.
Vandy's got some money, but doesn't use it.
Vandy's got money, but they don't really use it for that means. So when you just kind of assess it, Arkansas, not really.
Used it for basketball already.
Right. So when you assess it, is it because of the NIL?
I can't say it's not because of NIL, but I also think that there's maybe a little bit more going on there, right?
What is that thing?
Well, you and I were reading an article from The Athletic, and I think it sums it up pretty well, right? There's 3 paragraphs here. I'm just going to read 2 of them because one of them's about recruiting, right? SEC is still recruiting out of high school at the top level. Transfer portal classes are good. We kind of know that. But here are the 2 paragraphs. First one was, if you believe that SEC programs long have procured talent via ways that used to be against NCAA rules, then you may believe the ability for everyone to pay players has leveled the field. Whether or not that makes assumptions or includes some naivete about how some non-SEC teams acquired talent in those times, it skirts another point. Yes, everyone has to some degree paid players, right? This isn't a new phenomenon. Maybe the SEC was doing it more. Certainly the SEC was doing it better, contributing to their long run of championships. Here's the next paragraph that I think is interesting. It's harder to hoard all the talent. Thanks to the removal of transfer restrictions, Alabama and Georgia can no longer stash blue chip players on special teams in the scout team, let them develop a few years, and then spring them on the world. They still can occasionally, but guys want to play, and depth takes a hit. I think it's NIL is a part of it, but again, everyone, or at least a handful of schools, have been paying players for a long time. So yeah, an uptick in NIL, it takes away from fringes of the roster potentially. I think the transfer portal though, Strick, guys want to play. Back in the day when it was harder to transfer, or honestly, if there was even just a little bit more respect for the institution of a program where guys were more willing to pay their dues, they would be more okay sticking it out at Alabama or Georgia or programs like that on a more consistent basis. Whereas
because they couldn't go nowhere else, right?
Because
they couldn't go somewhere else and get that kind of visibility and so forth. Go ahead. Yeah, you want it. That's a good one.
Either they wanted to go somewhere else for that visibility that they wanted, or they no longer see the value in sticking it out. Because I still think there's value in sticking it in Alabama, a Georgia, in Ohio State for 4 years, but I think we see fewer guys seeing the value in that. So I think that's all in play. And then, Strick, it's just the way of the world, right? Sports are cyclical. Everyone has their run. Everyone falls, right? Did MJ's Bulls last forever? I'm sure it felt like it at the time, but it didn't. Did the Golden State Warriors run last forever? No. They're in cap purgatory, maybe even cap hell right now. Some really tough decisions to make. Guess what? Your favorite boy, LeBron, been playing for 20 years. He's not going to play for 30. Not how it works. Things come to an end. Alabama is still really good. Georgia is still really good. Ohio State's still really good. Oregon is still really good. But you can't win them all. The SEC had its run. The SEC took advantage of the rules that were in place, scheduled accordingly, probably went outside the rules into the gray area or even broke the rules in a lot of cases, but they maximized their run. The SEC did have a really good run. I'm not willing to say it's over because of just how much talent is there, because you give the SEC the benefit of the doubt to some degree, but it was also never going to be the SEC's domination forever, right? Yeah. Sports move on. Other teams adjust. Rules change. So Georgia and Alabama certainly are not out of the conversation. Tennessee and Ole Miss are not out of the conversation. It's still hard to win a national championship, but I do think it's going to be harder to build a run like the SEC had specifically in dominating the national championships for the better part of the last decade because of the new rules.
Gotcha. Because I'm the great Conjonio. Well said, Austin. You gave me TP. I appreciate it. I thank you for, holding me my foot to the fire. But I bet your house got TP'd a lot back in high school.
No, sir.
I'm just playing.
No, sir.
Mr. Orman, I'm just playing.
No, sir.
There wasn't no TPing going on over at your house.
No, sir. No, sir.
But I think you're onto something there, Austin. And I saw there was a parity shift during COVID. To me, that's where it thinned out the lining of, and guess where some of that shift happened for the Big Ten. Some of that shift happened for the Big Ten because of the Big Ten's willingness to be first to the field. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Similar to what happened in Omaha, as to you can see you can look right here in your home front in your region and get an understanding as to what transpired a little bit in the college football realm as to what happened here in Nebraska. Nebraska, Omaha, who had good teams at that time. Omaha North was really good. They would have who I can't. Oh, there was others. There was a few others, but Millard North, Millard South, Bellevue, all those fringe and suburban areas, as well as maybe some out in, I don't know if Lincoln participated. You'd have to tell me, but they said we playing football. And guess what a lot of that talent said? They got the hot stepping and hit the Omaha portal. They hit the Omaha portal and they was out. So I think some of that started that shift, and then you got the transfer portal that ends up happening, which continues some of that movement. And it happens to everybody. It's just who handles it best.
That's the thing, right? Event plus response equals outcome. SEC handled it better for a while. Now they're in an adjustment period with some other conferences, catching up to some degree. So it's going to be fascinating to see what the result is, what the reaction is, because the SEC had its time. Who's next? What's next? That's what we're all waiting to see. He's Strick.
Well, one thing, Austin, before we go to break, Anthony in Portland, love what you had to say. That's a great text on the Sutter Heyman text line. He says the best schools average one championship every 20 years. Most schools have none. A lot of fans don't understand how hard it is to win a championship. I think that's something to consider as well. Well said. Thank you for sharing that.
I think that's a great thing to launch into in the crossover, right? Just how hard is it to win a championship? What are our reasonable and realistic expectations for any, Power 4 program in this day and age? Let's get into that as we cross it over with Jay Foreman to wrap up On the Block.
Follow Austin, Strick, and On the Block on Twitter at Austin Orman, eStrick20, and On the Block 93.7. More of On the Block coming up.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call John Henrys at 402-435-5555 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-435-5555.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a happy new year. They are thankful for many things from 2023 and hope that 2024 brings prosperity for you and starts off well for everyone in your life. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
Time for a new heating and cooling system? Get the options, brand, and efficiency that best fits your family and your home. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
There's nothing quite like the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese beef. The Mercado offers unique ingredients you can't find anywhere else, open every day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The full-service butcher shop and retail store is wonderful for meat lovers with their exclusive Certified Piedmontese beef and assorted sausages, plus other quality meats, including pork, chicken, and a wide range of the freshest seafood. Plus, every Friday from 11 to 2, the Mercado serves up the best lunch in town on their Friday Feast menu. Stop in at the Mercado today at 84th and Havelock or visit their website at cpmercado.com to see current deals.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back. One final segment for the day in the week here during On the Block. Austin Norman with you at 1040 O Street. Eric Strickland with you on the road. We'll be back, though, hopefully on Monday for live shows here in person. This is the crossover brought to you by our friends at Love Volleyball Omaha. They begin their inaugural season January 24th at Liberty First Credit Union Arena in Ralston. Get your tickets online at lovb.com. You'll be able to see former Huskers Jordan Larson, Justine Wong-Arantes, Maddie Kubik, Lauren Stiverins, and Lexi Rodriguez in action. I believe I am safe to officially tease this. We will have Love Volleyball in studio with us 3 o'clock on Monday, including, I believe, at least one former Husker, if not two. Stop by the station, 1040 O Street, see him, meet him, greet him. They'll be on air, though, I believe, from 3 to 3:25, 3:30, somewhere in there. That'll be a great way to kick off the 3 o'clock hour on Monday. Eric Strickland, former Husker on the stream. To my left, you're right on the stream as well. Former Husker Jay Foreman. Jay, welcome into the crossover.
What's going on, fellas, on this beautiful Friday?
It is beautiful.
It is. A little snow out there, Jay. Stricky not happy about that.
Yeah.
Stricky not happy about that, Jay. Easy.
Stricky's
Snow,
smart, man. He knows to stay in the warm parts of the United States as long as possible. But this snow won't stick around too long, Strick. So I think you're A-okay when you come back, my brother.
Jay Feezy, I got something in mind that your boy's looking to, man. I'm looking to the Southwest, man. I know you used to love the Southwest when it was time to go to the Fiesta Bowl. So Stricky might be looking at something out that way, man. Just a little getaway and dip. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then. You know what I'm talking about?
Hey, Glendale, Arizona was a off-season home for me. My mom lived there for a very long time, so.
But Southeast Miami's that's family too.
It is. It's a little different heat, though. It's the dry heat that's going to shrivel you up, or the humidity of South Florida that's just going to just beat you down. And,
hey Jay,
go ahead.
You dressed for Minnesota, my boy.
Oh yeah,
that Minnesota thing different.
When the temperatures get below 38 degrees, I'm not trying to look cute.
Right.
I'm not matching. I'm not doing anything. I'm just gonna make sure I'm warm, man. That's it.
Yeah. Hey, but in this season, would you dip in Lake Minnetonka like Prince?
It depends on how big the paycheck was.
That part, it had to be a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about it, that Minnesota lake and that Minnesota water been cold for a long time, so it's nice and crispy once you get in there, man. It'll wake you up. Yeah, no ice fishing for me.
Let's go ahead and pause 10 quick seconds for station ID. We'll jump into some more crossover in just a sec.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
We had a question on our text line, Strick, that you read as we were going to break that I think is really interesting to get into here. It comes from Anthony in Portland, who's been active on the Starter Heyman text line all day here. As we look at the SEC kind of falling behind in this year's college football playoff, only Texas left standing as the only Southern team. Anthony's text is, the best schools average one championship every 20 years. Most schools have none. A lot of fans don't understand how hard it is to win a championship, which is kind of funny because you won 3 of them, but you have never once told anyone it was easy.
Yeah, it's never easy. I mean, I think you got to have a little bit of luck there. I mean, I think obviously it's a little bit different when you, look at, 95. I mean, it was, the most dominant team ever. So it wasn't, we obviously created our own luck. But it's extremely hard because you could be a great team. And I'm thinking about the Canes team. Remember when the Miami team went and played Texas in the Cotton Bowl, had 15 penalties. They were easily the best team and kind of got hosed against Notre Dame. So you need some good situational circumstances there. And then obviously you got to play your best at all times. But I think also with this, I need it now type of mentality of the fan base and younger people, they just think I call it the chia pet, type of mentality. And you see this a lot in sports and youth sports where they figure oh, well, you just pour water on a kid. Next thing you know, you get a LeBron James, you'll get a Jordan, you'll get a KD, it's no big deal. I don't think they really understand the type of work that goes into being a champion. And you don't become a champion when you win it. You become a champion a year or two before, because it's a process, it's a attitude, and it's a lifestyle.
So if we have 70 teams, give or take, in the Power Four, Anthony's point is not all of them have won a national championship because not every football program is created equally. Strick, we'll start with you, then we'll bounce it to Jay. Of the 70 schools in the Power Four, how many of them have the capability of winning a national championship? Is it all 70 that should have the infrastructure, the facilities, the resources? Is it less than 70 that have, on any given year, the ability to win a national title? Or do you include, 75 or 80 teams if you branch into the Power Five? How many schools in FBS football can, in any given year, win a national championship?
I've got to say that during all of the shifts, it first started off, who has the longest tenure of stability? If you look at Nebraska, they had stability within their coaching structure. So anybody that came through Nebraska or came to Nebraska, they knew what they were going to get. They knew who they were going to get as their coach. They knew, they've had a chance to watch him, the conversations, see how he handled players, what he was doing. And you can go down, look at Schembechler. You can go down and look at, who was at Notre Dame, Jay, long time? Lou Holtz. You can go, not Tubbs, but down in Oklahoma. Switzer, and those guys. Yeah, you can go and just look at all of those, and you understood what was there. You knew what you was getting into, so forth and so on. So there's been so much turnover now. There's so many coaching turnover. You don't know who you've got, and then it shifts from tradition, coach, winning, all of that, conference, who has the most visibility, all of that. Then there was a shift of that. And then you had guys that won championships in one structure. And then all of a sudden it shifted to BCS. And so teams started to build themselves for that model. And then you started to find teams like Boise State that pops up, and other teams that you're like, you don't really want to give them a shot because who they play? Who they play to get in there? And you questioned it, and then they go to a bowl game and they beat one of those top-tier program types, and you're like, dang, did we miss on that? And then you try to shift it and you move it to another format, and then every time the format shifts, you find this team pops up and you start to question the pop-up. So I'm saying that I don't believe that 70 teams have an opportunity. I think now the opportunity exists within the power, the two powers right now. And look who that is. What teams right now are there? We saw through one structure of the of whatever the format was, SEC dominance.
Yeah.
You saw what it was. It was LSU. It was this. You had a pop in of Clemson. Clemson figured out a way, to get their head into the mix. And but what Clemson was doing is they were finding out a way how to stash guys. They were figuring out a way how to get down into Alabama, how to get down into Florida, get them up just a little bit north. And they liked the coach, and he was able to put something together. But again, it started with quarterbacks for them. So I'm going to stop there. But you see where I was going. It's always been some form of a transition, and there was an adjustment. I think now only the big babies have an opportunity. And I don't know for sure. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm going to stand on until there's some sort of shakeup or there's a little bit more dispersion still with NIL. And what you said in that article that we didn't necessarily share with Jay, but I'm sure he probably heard it, about how it's not just NIL, but it's also transfer portal. And with these guys not wanting to stay like Jay and them did, in their time, guys got in here, Prop 48 guys got in here. They figured out a way. Nebraska was good at getting guys here, getting them on roster and getting them into class and helping them in that whole process. That academic department with LeBlanc and everybody down there, they knew what they was doing, and that's how they was able to win. But it shifted now. When the dispersion happens, then we'll probably see a few more teams be able to win it. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in the short term, the blue, let's just say the bigger name blue bloods. But I think once or if the NCAA or the powers that be, and the big step is having a college football commissioner, so AKA Nick Saban. Once you have him in place, and then you start to have a cap, and then you kind of curtail or readjust the transfer portal rules, whether it's how many free transfers you get, when you can do it, then what that's going to do, it's going to be extreme parity. And then you're going to see
NFL level parity?
Yes. And then once you get a magical run like the Patriots, then that's it. But those coaches are gone now.
Right? Once in a generation. Right.
You'll get a 5 to 7 year run. Then you're going to see 2 or 3 year pods, maybe 4 year pods. And
a la Georgia.
Yep. Like Georgia, Bama, kind of like what Strick said, Clemson. So once you get that, but what the byproduct of that will be, because so many kids know that they essentially can force themselves on the field so early right now, then you'll see some players that maybe get their, growing pains by getting out there early. They'll start to disperse to, I'm just looking at right now, like not this low, but like a North Texas, Texas State, or Virginia Tech, Minnesota. We'll see later on the night. And so if you have that staff, that up and coming staff, or that staff that's really, really comfortable where they're at, and they get an influx of a couple good, recruiting classes of players, but a byproduct of the big ones, then you'll see a team that's normally not in the mix be in the mix, or teams in the mix. And I'm going to tell you one thing that's funny is, like, if the money flows right to a Boise, to a let's throw the South Dakota State, North Dakota State in there, or those type of schools, right? Memphis or
Tulane,
SMU. You start to spread that out. You'll start to see those type of teams pop up in the college football playoffs more regularly. And they'll start to steal some of those spots from a supposed guarantee like an Ole Miss. They'll lose out. Or, what'll be even better if you get a team, I keep looking at them, like a Virginia Tech that has a really good year and they get in. Everybody's expecting North Carolina to get in, but what happens when North Carolina State gets in, or when they make the noise, or they knock out a Clemson? Everybody expects Miami, FSU to come back, and a Clemson to be in there. But who's the one in the ACC that really steps up? Because it's a domino effect. One more for the ACC is almost like two less, in one for the Big Ten and one for the SEC that's not in.
You can throw the Big 12 in that ACC conversation as well.
Exactly. If you get a team, say Colorado has some more tread, say Kansas State, who had a great year this year, has a big, non-conference victory, or they have parity where teams are ranked. You can really, really start making some hay that way, and really, really get into this chaos of what they're trying to create in this college football playoffs.
It's going to be fun to watch. The semifinals are set. Ohio State, Texas, and Penn State, Notre Dame are the matchups. That'll do it for us here for the day and the week during On the Block. As always, thanks to Nebco for their sponsorship of the show. Really appreciate them. Looking forward to another great year with them as the title sponsor of the show. Stricky, appreciate you hopping on. I'm excited to get you back in studio. It's been fun. Travel safe. We'll see you on Monday. Hopefully tomorrow, though. Let's make it back for UCLA. Let's see you tomorrow, Stricky.
2 thumbs up. I get that.
We love it. He's Strick. I'm Austin. Don't go anywhere. We got old school DP Jay Foreman coming your way. This has been the Love Volleyball Omaha crossover. It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even